Hi, welcome to Plus Platoon. We are here with the entire crew, and we are talking about what our diamonds in the rough are. So, what's some stuff that you've been watching? Okay, Kate, what's something you've been watching lately that you've liked?
So I have two.
Okay.
My first one is the Avengers Assembled with WandaVision. Holy moly! As someone who loves documentaries, I also it was fascinating how they created the show, the details that went in, especially in the period pieces of the 50s and 60s. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. But my other one is called On Point, and it's all about the school. The School of American Ballet.
Okay.
And it's fascinating. It follows some students through working in this very intensive ballet school, and they put on the Nutcracker. It was set in 2019, and as the end, it showed what they went through in 2020 and how they had to take lessons in their homes, and brilliant. So that's what I've got.
Okay. And for those of you just joining us, our diamonds in the rough are what have you been watching on Disney Plus that you've really liked? Okay. Something, something that someone should try out that's not necessarily new. Rebecca?
So long time ago, but the biggest diamond in the rough that we have is a series called Drain the Oceans. It's a National Geographic series, and they literally will drain the ocean through CGI, computer work, whatever, and look at stuff that's just hidden under there. We got into it by watching Titanic documentaries and stuff, and we're just fascinated by the fact that there's boats and jewels and gold and all this stuff sitting at the bottom of the ocean. And so we watched that whole series, and it's just wonderful if you're really into documentaries. So
nice. Love it. Well, I'm going to give a tip for Disney nature type stuff. And in particular, there's this one Disney nature film called Bears that is about a mother bear and her two cubs and whether or not they're going to survive their year to get back to hibernation. And it's a documentary style, but it's like a narrated nature film, and it's really fantastic. And my son, who's 7 years old, who's a big fan of bears, loved it. What are you watching, Pete?
So also on National Geographic, a show that our family has really enjoyed is called Secrets of the Zoo. And there's one for the Columbus Zoo, and then there's another one, Secrets of the Zoo Australia, which is the Sydney Zoo. And, it's basically just behind the scene things with the zoo. And my wife's telling me the name of the zoo behind me, and it's confusing me, but Taronga is the name of the zoo in Australia.
Excellent.
So anyways, it's really, if you like to see the behind the scenes, it shows how the vets deal with the animals and everything like that. It's really interesting. And I just saw when they just announced the April listing, and another season's coming out in April. So I'm kind of excited to watch that.
Cool. Very cool.
What about you, Jarek?
I would say for me, it's a series that my son has loved for years that is up there, Brain Games. Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I didn't know it was on Disney.
It is a National Geographic show. So it is, all the seasons are on Disney Plus. And it's fun because it's an interactive audience thing where they actually will do stuff up on the screen and show how your brain plays tricks on you. And my son loves to do those, and then try and figure out what's going on, rather than figure out what's the answer, figure out why his answer is wrong before they tell him. So
cool. I'd love to hear from the audience, if we have any listeners, what you guys are watching, what you think are diamonds in the rough.
Yeah. We've got a comment here from Catherine, says she's watched Drain the Ocean. It's very good. I will say I've seen a couple of the episodes. I've enjoyed it. It's been something I've been meaning to get back into, Rebecca. I just haven't got there yet.
It's really cool for if you're into history as well. They do a lot of like World War II, the Civil War stuff. They look at social histories and everything like that. So it's not just massive ships like the Titanic or pirates and stuff. Like there's a lot of actual stuff. They look at underground cities, really everything. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So it's really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, I watched the Alcatraz one, which was really good.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay, there we go. Okay, Imagineering Story. Yeah, Imagineering Story is great. Bruce, be real interested to see which episode you liked the best, because for those of you who haven't watched it, basically goes through the history of all the Disney parks, and there's an episode to each main park. So
I thought the Matterhorn one was pretty cool. The one where they sort of did the behind the scenes of how the Matterhorn came to be.
Yeah. Heather says loved the Columbus Zoo series. Also behind the scenes at Animal Kingdom series that was awesome.
So the Columbus Zoo series was very similar to the behind the scenes at Animal Kingdom series. So if you like that Animal Kingdom series, check out Secrets of the Zoo.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I think we are all caught up there. So I'm going to drop everyone down here, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Hi, welcome to the Plus Platoon. I'm Derek, and we are a group of, it's a Disney fan podcast that gives honest reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, we look at some coming attractions, and we're even going to go back into the vault sometimes to see some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Okay. I do want to do want to thank our sponsor, DVC Rental Store. When I plan my Disney vacations, I know the Disney Vacation Club gets you the nicest rooms while you can still save some serious cash. Okay, I use DVC Rental Store to save money on 4 of my different Disney vacations, and they were able to give me the best rooms on property for less than the price of a moderate. Price was easy, and they gave me the champagne accommodations on a beer budget. Go to dvcrentalstore.com and see what they can save you on your next Disney vacation. Okay. I would like to welcome to the Plus Platoon our first member, Kate. Hi, Kate. How you doing this evening?
Oh, hey, everybody. I'm doing so good on this beautiful Wednesday evening, Derek. Thank you.
It's, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, happy St. Patty's Day. I am not wearing green, so I'll pinch myself.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. Okay. Also like to bring in next to our stream, Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very, very well.
Good. Also not in green.
Yep. Nope. Not in green. Doesn't really work with the green screen. So you just, see the head. Okay. Next for us, next to come up from DCL Duo is Sam. Hey, Sam. How you doing this evening?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing great. I am coming to you straight from beautiful sunny Seattle. It's a gorgeous night tonight. It's only 6 p.m. here, and I'm loving it.
Sunny Seattle?
Sunny Seattle. Tonight, it's sunny.
I don't know if I've ever heard those words in the same sentence.
I know.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least is Peter. Pete, how's it going this evening?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, should be a nice evening.
To see everybody.
Yep. So our first thing we're going to do is we've got some Disney Plus news. So take it away, Kate.
Everybody, it is time for Disney Plus news. Get excited. So last Friday, a couple things dropped. Own the Room, which we are going to dive into tonight, but also Marvel Assembled. I talked about it a little bit in the pre-show. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It is phenomenal. It dives into the making of WandaVision. So good. And big news this Friday, y'all, the moment you have been waiting for, Falcon and Winter Soldier is dropping. The series is going to be so good. If you need a brush up, don't worry. If you're like, oh, Falcon, Winter Soldier, I think I remember them, but I've met a lot of Avengers. Have no fear. Disney Plus is here. There is a thing called Legends on Disney Plus. It is basically about 6 minutes of a recap of every character that has come out recently and their story, so you can get all caught up. One more piece of news on March 26th. That is next Friday. The Mighty Ducks series comes out. We talked all about the Mighty Ducks last Sunday. Get excited. That is it for Disney News.
Yay.
Great. So next up is our now showing, which we're going to be talking about the National Geographic Own the Room. Okay. Mm-hmm. This film follows 5 young entrepreneurs from all parts of the world in a worldwide pitch competition for which the winner receives $100,000. Okay. Our question tonight is, which pitch deserved the $100,000? Okay. Rebecca, which pitch did you think deserved the $100,000?
I was really, really drawn to the women in this show. Daniela and Alondra, I think, had the best ideas. To me, they were the only ones that I thought had a really global outreach. The boys, their ideas were wonderful, were fine. They would have worked great for their specific area, but I think that the girls really hit this home on this one, and Alondra's even more so because the deaf community is really, really underserved. And I take a lot of that pressure on myself because I'm not learning sign language and I should be. But at least with the app that she would have provided, there's more opportunity to outreach for that community. So my heart goes with Alondra.
Yeah, I have to agree with Rebecca here. I felt like the 2 women in this show were just phenomenal as entrepreneurs, as human beings. They were just amazing people. I was really drawn towards Alondra's idea in that it was connecting the deaf community to medical services and how important that is. I would say, though, I would give the edge on who should have won to Daniela. And I do that because Daniela's idea was about revolutionizing an entire industry and making that industry more, carbon neutral and more green. And so I feel like the wide ranging effects of what she was proposing and what she had invented was just more than any of the other entrepreneurs and could have a worldwide impact. And so I felt like her story spoke to me and was sort of the best idea of the bunch. What do you think, Pete? Pete, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I have to agree with both of you. I really enjoyed all 5 of the pitches. I thought all of them involved helping others, which is really a wonderful idea. In different ways, and some of them were more entertaining. The guy from Nepal was more about helping people connect with their loved ones from far away, so it was more about entertaining each other. But it was very good. But I agree, the 2 women I thought were the best. And I'm a chemical engineer. I work in the industry. I work in the industry around low global warming products. So I find anything like that, and in fact, our company does some nylon business. So that particular idea that Daniela had, I thought was the most far-reaching globally, and so I thought that was the one I was rooting for. How about you, Kate?
I feel that. I was really drawn to 2 people. I was really drawn to Henry and to Jason. I really, really loved the idea of Henry's, but I was so drawn to Jason. Jason had the idea of being able to interpret a baby's cry so that they could tell you what the baby is saying for those stressed out parents who are just trying to figure out why their child is crying. But I just love Jason's spirit. I loved everything about him. So my vote was for Jason. What about you, Derek?
For me, I was really drawn to Henry's idea. Henry's was the lack of housing among students in Africa. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was along the lines of only 30% of the students of the university students actually had housing available for them. So the idea was that they would it would help students find lodgings in the cities that their university is through an Airbnb type thing or through people wanting to rent out longer term, but it would give the students a chance to be able to be have some place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I would push back against a little bit what Rebecca said, though, as far as the ladies being the only ones to be able to go worldwide. Babies' cries are universal. So Jason's app could technically be multilinguistic, because a hungry baby's cry, as being a parent that's heard it for years, when a baby cries and you don't care what language their parents speak, and it doesn't matter, because a hungry baby cry is a hungry baby cry.
True.
So,
my problem with Jason's idea was not that it wasn't innovative and cool, but I'm like, when your baby cries, you just try a million different things, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm not sure knowing the reason why they're crying is actually going to help you to get them to stop crying, as a parent myself. So that was really my only criticism of Jason's idea. It was not that it wasn't innovative and cool, and but one, I'm not sure that it helps me as a parent know what to do in order to get the baby to stop crying. Because sometimes when they're hungry, you give them food and it still doesn't work.
And let me preface this by saying, I am not a parent. So let me preface by saying that. And like I said, I think it was Jason's personality that just so won me over. So
he was super charismatic, no question.
You gotta believe he's going to be successful in something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
I think the biggest part for him was when he was in the hotel room with his roommate, talking to him and encouraging him of how they're not going to remember you by what you said. They're going to remember you by how you made them feel. Right.
Absolutely.
And so it's, when I look at the way that Alondra and Daniela's pitches made me feel, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, babies cry. They all cry. They're all going to cry all the time,
That's fair.
regardless.
Yeah.
So that's why I went over that way.
Okay.
Hey, I wonder what our audience thinks. Do we have any opinions?
I haven't seen many opinions yet. I know it's a show that not many people may have watched.
Fair.
But,
it's brand new.
Yeah. But
it's worth watching at least once. It's worth it, I think.
My thing is, I don't think I would have watched it on my own had we not, we're going to do this show about it. I would have just been like, okay, it's another, because the way that the screen had made it look, it didn't really, like the description of it that we had been told of, 5 children that come from difficult backgrounds that are trying to make it. And then it just turned into, oh, well, these people are very innovative and they're all in school and they're very successful in what they're doing already. They just need a little bit of extra help. And so I think it kind of blew me off a little bit, because when I went into it watching it, it was not what I really had expected. So
yeah. Willie says Jason was an entrepreneur through and through. He'll launch his app, have it bought out, and move on to his next big idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish him success.
Yeah.
I would have said that's the kind of app that Gerber would buy. The Gerber baby food company. And it's amazing how many of them would think, oh, the baby's hungry.
It's always that, yeah.
Or
As
it
an
could be a
entrepreneur
diaper company.
Yes, as an entrepreneur myself, watching Jason, I said he's going to go really far. So.
Yeah.
So the next thing we want to know, and this is kind of the overall, is did the show own the room? Was the show successful? Did the show do what it was meant to do? Sam, what were your thoughts?
I would say 100%. And I say this because a show that gets me in the feels owns me, right? And this show hit me right in the feels. I can't tell you how many times I started tearing up when I was listening to any one of these really bright, charismatic entrepreneurs who all came from kind of humble backgrounds with a lot of difficult life circumstances, and hearing them tell their stories. I mean, Daniela from Venezuela, Santosh from Nepal, and talking about the struggles of the Nepalese people, in that a lot of them have to travel abroad and can't see their families for, months or years on end, and how they want to sort of send home a bit of happiness. Just all of these amazing personal stories. And so when you get me in the feels like that, like I said, you own me.
Okay.
What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I thought going into it that we were just going to see a bunch of presentations, that they would show a little bit about the characters, but mostly we would just see their presentations. And actually, it ended up being the opposite in that they followed these 5 people, and really we got to know them, not just what they were presenting, but know them as people and what their background is and everything. And as you just said, different cultures from around the world. They didn't just pick 5 people from North America. It was people from all over the place. So to me, it was much more than I thought it was going to be. And as you said, it made you really feel for these people and understand that they were going to these competitions. So I really enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting to. And it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kate?
Thank you for asking, Pete. Oh, you're this way. Thank you for asking, Pete. So I am very outspoken about the fact that I love documentaries. And I didn't, as an entrepreneur, as someone who has created something from nothing, I appreciated this. I didn't know that this competition existed. So I was so grateful to be educated about that. I'm also really grateful that they didn't hide the things that happened with Henry, that they brought that to light, that things do happen. And I did fall in love with Henry. I loved how they showed what it was like in their hometowns. Mm-hmm. They came from unbelievably different paths, unbelievably different families, different circumstances. And I think I had 2 favorite things. I loved when they got to the national competition that they were looking for each other. Mm-hmm. They were hugging each other. They were cheering each other on. I can't remember his name, but he handed the girl from the United States a note right before she went on that said, "You can do this. You are
right." The guy from Colombia, I think it was. Yes.
And just the way that they rallied around each other. They weren't from other countries at that point. They were from the human race. And I loved that. I also loved Henry said, if opportunity doesn't knock on your door, knock down the freaking wall.
Yep.
And I literally have goosebumps right now just thinking about him saying that. And when the sweet girl from America won, I'm so sorry, I don't remember her name. Daniela, thank you. Henry said, that's a win. Mm-hmm. Her win is our win. And that we need that right now. Our world needs that, where we aren't seeing each other as competition, but we are seeing each other as equals, and we are seeing each other as when they win, we win. So right. I loved it. I thought it totally owned the room. What about you, friend?
Well, hang on. To me, it owned the room in the fact that it was the only thing left in the room. I didn't need the 40 minutes of backstory before anything got started. That's the point that my wife walked out. Okay. Get to the activities and then sprinkle it in throughout the show. Okay. This was set up as a competition show. It was set up as these 5 kids are doing their pitches and someone's going to win $100,000. We never saw their pitches. We know what their products were, but we never saw the pitches.
Yeah.
So how do we know what their exact pitch was? How do we know she actually deserved to win?
Yeah, we just saw pieces of them.
Right. I would have rather watched a longer show where we actually got to see their pitches.
I agree with that.
Then they could have mixed in backstories with the pitches. Also, never saw the feedback from the judges. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know I'm so used to watching, cooking shows and all these shows where you see the competition and you see the judges' feedback. This felt empty. Okay. As I said, my wife left the room after 30 minutes. I found myself wanting to join her. Okay. I will not be watching this again. I mean, I understand the messages were great. I would agree with Kate on that one. It didn't do it for me. Rebecca, how about you?
Well, I liked it.
I'm still with you, Rebecca. Don't listen to Derek.
We're allowed to disagree, you know.
Yeah.
No, I know.
This is the good thing about having 5 of us, right? We have different opinions, and yeah.
No, I thought it was great. I agree with Sam that once you get my heart, once you get into my emotional aspect of everything, you've got me hooked. I was so drawn to the relationship between Danielle and her mom. Mm-hmm. I thought that it was so incredibly important for them to highlight that experience. And I mean, I lost it when she won and she just looked, they brought her up on stage, her mom on stage, and they were embracing and stuff. And I'm like, man, this is hard. I think about it like I live away from my mom, from my family, and I'm here with my boyfriend and their family, and they're wonderful, but it's not my mom, you know, and that type of relationship I have to live by just calling her every day. So I kind of related with her on that aspect of it. Like, if I was able to have one of the most amazing experiences of my life, I would want my mom to be there. And so I really, I thought that it was captivating, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, I think I connected with it in that similar way, Rebecca. Mm-hmm. I live across the country from my mom, who's in New York. And so to me, that longing and that wanting to share such a happy and wonderful accomplishment with your mom as a woman is kind of a big deal. And maybe that's unique. I don't know. Maybe that's a unique mother-daughter thing. I don't know. I'm sure there are other relationships that have that as well. But to me, that's the feelings it brought up, just like it did for Rebecca. I would agree with one criticism that you made, Derek, which is I actually would have liked to see this broken up instead of a one show. I would have liked to see this broken up as a series where we focused a little bit more and actually did a deeper dive into the background of some of these folks. I would have liked to see more about person. Like so exactly, an episode a person and maybe an hour each one, and see and get a deeper dive into their background and how they got to where they are and that sort of a thing, because I think we could have seen a lot of interesting life circumstance.
I'll go with Derek on this one. I don't need more. And I disagree with him on the presentations. I think if it had been a show, because that's what I thought the show was going to be, and it was just going to be the presentations, and those presentations with questions were, I think, a half hour each. So I mean, you would have been talking about 2.5 hours of sitting there watching people give presentations. I don't think that would have been entertaining. I'm sorry. I think the way they did it was a more entertaining version. Now, it would be nice if they had like an extras thing. If you really loved one of the presenters, you could see their whole presentation. But I don't think that if they had just spent the whole time just showing presentations, it would have worked. Maybe they could have shown a little more, but.
And I would go with that. I would say, show me some of the show me show me the best 5 minutes of each presentation. Okay?
I would agree.
Show me the core 5 minutes, and then Sam, I would have no issues going into a half hour on each person, as long as you give me 5 minutes, because we know the cameras were in there. Because we saw the start of it. Brian here says, I think to get what Derek wants, Disney would need to sponsor their own competition. It's more of a feel-good story about overcoming obstacles to succeed. No, because National Geographic had the cameras in the rooms, because we saw them doing part of their pitches. They just chose not to put them in there.
Yeah.
Derek, go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I was just going to say, though, to me, I don't think that would have been as compelling to watch the more of the pitches, maybe a little bit more, but that wasn't what got me in the show, right? The thing that got me in the show was the backstories. And so I think reasonable minds can disagree on that point, but I don't think that having more of the pitch would have made me more interested in the show.
I thought we had seen enough of the pitches in the backstories. They were obviously all doing it for a reason. And when you're learning, I thought it was more compelling to learn about their reasonings in their hometowns. We're seeing it happen. We're seeing the reasons of why they are doing what they're doing and why they're creating what they are. And so for me, that was the biggest part of it. I can see how this helps in your situation, in your hometown where it actually matters.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like, because like the early part of the show, I wasn't immediately drawn in, but by the fact that they told me about these 5 people, then when the competition came, then you were really drawn in. I mean, especially like Henry's story, as you mentioned, if you hadn't seen what he had gone through to get there, or to the point where he's entering the competition, just the story of him being, deported and having to, try to get there and everything like that wouldn't have been as compelling if we didn't already know about him.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I will applaud them I thought that this was going to be where Henry gets deported, he makes it just in time, and then he wins the whole thing. And that isn't what happened. And Derek, I am going to agree with you that I do wish we could have seen a little bit more of, you were so welcome, of their actual talk. Like they showed the beginning of Henry's talk. And I wish, but again, I'm a speaker. So I wanted to see them speak. And like at one point they showed Daniela and she was like, there's supposed to be slides up there, but okay, it's fine, whatever. And unfortunately hers was the one that I felt like I didn't know anything about. I felt like I had a good grasp on the others, but hers was, full disclosure, I am not a science person. I wish I was, but I am not a super scientific person. I believe in science, but I don't understand it as well. And so I just had trouble understanding her product, which was harder for me to understand than we're going to throw a birthday party or here's a baby that tells you what it wants. So,
they didn't really go into much detail on hers. I still think it would have been cool as an extra. Like you should be able to click, because with Disney Plus, you always have, you can click on the extras and okay, I've seen this movie now I want to go and watch the pitches of all 5 people. Give me that as an extra that I can watch. It certainly can't cost anything to just show it to us, you know, but
I love that idea actually.
Now, Brian does bring up a point. They may have been prohibited from showing some of that in order to get their cameras in their room in the first place.
It's true.
Possibly. It's a possibility. And Gina says, Gina hasn't watched this, wasn't on the radar. When Disney Plus sends me an email, it's mostly the heavy hitters that catch my eye. Thanks for sharing this. Gina, that's why we're here. Okay? To talk about things that you guys might not see that, while not everyone may agree, people think you should see. So,
and I will add
at least 4 out of 5.
Yes. And Gina, I adore you. Even though we've given some spoilers, there is so much in this documentary that like you may think, okay, well, they said everything, I don't need to watch it. No, I would at least once watch this documentary. It's full of a lot. So,
and I don't think we said who wins, so let's keep that one quiet.
We did.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers for everyone.
Dang it.
Okay. Real quick, guys. Rebecca, how many cups of pixie dust out of our 5-cup scale? How many cups of pixie dust?
I'm going to give this one a 4. I thought that it was very informative. I thought that it pulled at the heartstrings. It was educational, but still sentimental in all of the right ways. To me, it really worked. It wasn't perfect because it just wasn't, but it was still great. So a 4 for me.
Nice. I'm actually going to give it a 4.5 cups of pixie dust. I loved it. I wanted more. That's the reason it doesn't get 5 is because I wanted more background. I wanted more depth into all of the 5, I'll call them characters, but the 5 people we were seeing. So I loved it. Pete, how many cups?
Did I mute that sneeze in time? I tried to.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I'm also going to give it 4. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I would definitely recommend, it's not something I would go back to and watch again, I don't think, but it's definitely something I was glad I watched. So I would give it 4 out of 5.
Oh my gosh. Well, friend, let me tell you, I was going to give it a 3.5, but hearing you guys, and after we've kind of dissected, before we did this podcast, I was going to give it a 3.5, but after we have dissected it, I'll bump it to a 4. And I'm like planning on being very stingy with my 4s and 5s, so I'll give it a 4.
Okay. Keeping in mind, I have been talked up through this. I'm going to give it 1.5. I can't.
You didn't like
it?
it?
I can't. I did not like it.
That's okay.
So, Derek, do you like documentaries? I'm just
love
curious.
Documentaries.
Okay, just curious.
I would love documentaries. And I'm an English teacher, so I think that may be part of where I'm coming from, wanting to see the people speak.
Got it.
But yeah, just did not do it for me.
What's it? Was it better or worse than Flora and Ulysses?
Better in the fact that I actually finished it. Yeah. And Brian says Derek's completely incorrect. Trust me, I get that all the time.
Yep.
I get that all the time. That's nothing new to me.
At least two.
No, I can't do a 2. Especially based on what we rated Mighty Ducks last week. This doesn't come even close to a 2. So
you know what, Derek? Just be wrong in your wrongness, okay?
Yeah.
Own the rating.
Yeah, so the 4 of you are all saying this was better than the Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
It was to me. I gave Mighty Ducks 3.5. So yeah.
Yeah.
Can you really compare them?
Totally different genre.
That's like comparing Mickey Mouse to Captain America. Like,
Captain America.
Excellent
Mickey Mouse.
segue there.
I can't compare those two.
And that is an excellent segue, Kate, because as you talked about in the news, next week we have The Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out. Question for us is not what do you think will happen? What do you want from the series? What would make this a successful series, Falcon and Winter Soldier? Pete, what's your thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier?
So I feel like I know I'm going to get action. Clearly I'm getting action. I want that, but clearly I'm getting it. What I would like to do is your 2 main characters here, Falcon, Winter Soldier, are basically what's their main character traits. They're friends of Captain America. And other than that, we don't really know a lot about them. We know maybe a little more about Bucky because he was, brainwashed by the Russians. But like Sam, we don't really know anything about. So I'm really hoping that one of the advantages of a television show versus a movie is you can really delve more into what makes a character tick. And that's what I want to see. I want to see more about those 2 characters. I also want to see about, I want to call her Agent Carter, but Agent Carter is Peggy Carter. So Agent Carter Jr.
Yeah.
Or the Agent Carter the Third, maybe. I'm not sure. But I want to see more of her too, because she has really been a side character in the movies that's basically comes in and tells Captain America something and then kisses him and leaves. So I'm really hoping we get more about her too. What about you, Kate?
Oh, don't you worry. So there's 2 things for me that I really want. And I am still slightly new to the Marvel universe. I've seen I've seen almost all of the movies. I don't know if I'm missing any or not. I want a little bit of comedy. I want to laugh. Yeah. There is a reason that Thor Ragnarok is my favorite of all of the Marvel movies. And I know a lot of you diehard Marvel fans just rolled your eyes at me.
No, I love that.
Thor Ragnarok is so brilliantly a mix of action and comedy. I would love to see that. There wasn't a lot. There was like a teeny hint in the preview when Falcon and Winter Soldier were like walking with each other, but I want a little bit of comedy. I want to laugh a little bit. I also would love to see some Easter eggs dropped. Where it's you see something and you're not really sure, and then later you're like, oh my God, why didn't I see that? Those are my favorite. So that's me. What about you, Derek?
I'm kind of coming to this a little similar to Kate, to where I'm kind of a Marvel outsider. It's never really been my thing. I want something to pull me farther into the Marvel universe. Give me a reason to watch. I had a little Marvel spark lit with WandaVision, but it needs to hit me with something else to keep that spark growing. So that's one thing I want. The second thing I would love to have happen is a series where if I miss a week, I'm not totally lost. I want a series where, yes, you have plot development throughout the entire series, but it's not like, wait, what, huh? Who was that person? That's a big, huge character shows up in one episode. And either I think they need to do a better, like they did the last time on WandaVision. Those helped a little bit, but I don't know. I want more of I love the action. I love the comedy. I don't want to, be guilty of, oh my gosh, I have to put an hour aside for this. And if I don't, I can't watch it this week. Rebecca, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of the opposite of what you're thinking, Derek, because I'm big on Marvel. This whole quarantine has actually been filled with it. I've watched all the movies in order, and we watched all of these different standalone series and stuff. And so to me, WandaVision was the one that was actually the most different from anything Marvel that I've seen. And it was almost harder to watch WandaVision than I am excited about Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I know that Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be filled with the fighting and the angry and then the Avengers and all this stuff. So I'm different on that aspect, but I'm also looking for something kind of like what Gina has said, that she wants action, not so much a huge story. She wants cameos. I want to see Chris Evans come back. I want to see, something. I know.
We just want to see
this
America's
see, right? I want to see Chris Evans. Maybe he's shirtless. Who knows? That's what I want to see. Okay,
Rebecca, you're my favorite.
Okay.
Pete, this has completely gone off the rails.
There are no wheels on this bus. Sam, what do you think?
Me and Rebecca are on the same page tonight. I mean, sister, it is just, we are simpatico tonight. I really would love to see some Chris Evans. I don't think we're going to see him. I don't need the recaps. I've seen everything. I love Thor Ragnarok, though, to give you a shout out, Kate. It's such a great movie. Mm-hmm. I also love the first Avengers because I feel like that also had a lot of comedy in it. But the thing that I was thinking about ahead of the show was kind of the same thing Peter was thinking about. I want to know more about who Sam Wilson is, he's the Falcon. I want to know his backstory more. We haven't really heard that in the series thus far. And so I would really like to do a deep dive into him and maybe give him a little bit of a love interest.
You can go watch Legends if you didn't know. It's only like 6 minutes long. It will give you a background on the Falcon. You're welcome.
The problem with that is because they talk about him as Falcon, but what did he do before that?
That's
obviously they don't know any. He was brought up in Captain America: Winter Soldier as Falcon, and that's what he was introduced as. But we don't know anything about how he even got there in the first place. So that's what,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I said, he's basically, okay, Captain America, I'll do whatever you want.
Right.
It's basically what not that he's a bad character or a bad actor. He's wonderful, but I want more than I'm Captain America's friend and I'll follow him to the ends of the earth.
I'm sorry, the name Robin was already taken. Batman already has Robin, so I'll just go with Falcon. It's another bird. It's fine.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, he was a character from the comics also, so we know, he's got a backstory, but we need to hear. I'm not a comic book person, even though I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I want to know about the backstory of Sam Wilson, the backstory of how he became Falcon before he became Falcon.
Exactly.
And one of my favorite bits in Endgame, actually, because Bucky Barnes in the comics, and I'm not a huge comic fan. I don't read them, but the MCU has made me pay attention to the differences. And I was expecting him to give the shield to Bucky because Bucky was Captain America in the comics. And that scene where he gives it to Sam instead, that actually made me tear up. I know I'm sure there's scenes that made everybody tear up in that movie, but the fact that he handed it to Sam, I was like, oh, that's so good. I just really loved it. And he's going to be our Captain America, so I want to know more about him. I want to see how this is going to go.
And is he going to be accepted as Captain America? Because Captain America has been dead for years, and without Captain America actually handing off in a public ceremony, is he going to be accepted as Captain America? That's who knows? Vicky has said no. She wants a solid standalone storyline. Okay, I would go with that also. Make this so you don't have to watch the next movie coming out. Okay, so you don't have to have necessarily seen all of the previous movies. Make it its own. Okay, Gina, agrees with Rebecca as far as wanting the Chris Evans. Willie says no. Chris Evans, he thinks he'll cameo, but it'll be late in the series because there are only 6 episodes of this.
Oh, it's short.
I will say when I was watching the preview, the trailer, I forgot that it was a TV show. I thought it was I forgot it was a TV show. I thought it was a movie because I had a moment of, oh man, am I going to have to pay to see this? Because I will, because it's great. But I totally forgot that it was a TV show. So it will be interesting to see how they make this into TV format and not the giant Marvel movie format.
one of the things that Kevin Feige mentioned was both WandaVision and this show are basically 6-hour movies. And it just so happened with WandaVision, because of the sitcom trope, it made more sense to break it into these 25-minute episodes. This is only going to be 6 episodes, but the episodes are going to be much closer to an hour each. So it's still going to be about the same length of time that we're going to spend with the characters as we did on WandaVision, only it's 6 episodes instead of 9. So the episodes are going to be longer.
So it's basically 2 movies.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's basically, well, 3 almost.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, any last thoughts, comments, anything that you feel like we've missed?
Just Derek is wrong.
Well, yeah. You know what? Get used to that.
I was looking forward. I was looking forward to this series a lot more than I was looking forward to WandaVision, and I liked WandaVision a lot.
Really?
But yes, I really like these 2 characters. I really wanted to see more of these 2 characters, and quite honestly, I could have cared less about Wanda and Vision before watching that series, and the series made me like them and made me more interested in those characters. But that was probably the series I was least interested in. I'm super pumped for Loki too. So
excited. Yes. It will be interesting to see how they do this. Pete, going off of what you just said, it'll be interesting to see, because WandaVision, it flowed so well with the different decades and the different episodes. Yeah. It flowed so well. It will be interesting to see how they handle this.
And I thought, as I said, I wasn't that looking forward to WandaVision. It wasn't perfect in my view, but it was so much better than I thought it was going to be, and so unique. And I don't know that this is going to be as unique as that is. Yeah. But so I'm really curious to see how this lands, because this seems much more straightforward. It's like kind of a buddy story, probably, and have to overcome adversity, and he's,
get to like each other.
Right, exactly. And because even though they're both like Captain America friends,
they're not friends of each other.
Right. I don't think they've spent more than like 2 minutes on screen together. So,
and will there be a WandaVision Falcon Winter Soldier crossover?
No.
Will there be a minute?
I hope not.
No. Really?
No.
I'm hoping for some Easter eggs. I don't think we're going to see a crossover. I don't think we're going to see a crossover. I don't think Wanda and Vision are going to appear on this series, but I'm hoping for some Easter eggs that also point us towards the next Doctor Strange movie. So I agree though with Pete. WandaVision was very unique. I think we're going to see something that's more in line with what we've seen from Marvel before. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think it's not going to be as unique as WandaVision was.
Yeah, that's fair. Ryan does say he agrees with Pete 100%. So I think one thing that may make the crossover a little difficult is WandaVision took place, 3 weeks after everyone returned. This is supposed to start 6 months after, 6 to 9 months after everyone returned. So it's possible you could flow into their timeline. I don't know how practical it is. So
I think it's a very different group of people. So I really think that, Wanda's off on her own. And I think that we're not going to see anything from her in this series.
Okay.
But we might see some Easter eggs. I could see that, but
Marvel's so good at leaving Easter eggs. I feel like there'll at least be one.
Okay.
And it kind of shocked me that we didn't have any big cameo in WandaVision. So
Pat Bettany came out as White Vision. Excuse you. He highlighted it the entire series.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
we knew Paul Bettany was going to be in there. So.
Yeah, but you didn't know he'd come back again.
No, we didn't. But I guess I should say
we didn't know he'd play 2 characters.
I should say a different actor from the series showing up
from the MCU. Yeah.
A shirtless Chris Evans.
The shirtless Chris Evans. I'm with you. I'm with you, girlfriend.
Except he's 95 years old.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Guys, on that note, please go to facebook.com/plusplatoon, like, subscribe, share us, Look us up on, we've got a YouTube channel where all these are going to be. Like, subscribe, share, and make sure you are with us every Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we've got the Falcon and Winter Soldier premiere. So with that being said, I want to say goodnight, everyone, and happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll see you next week, guys.
Good night.
Bye, guys.